What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into this very interesting video that I'm so excited to dive into, I wanted to share something more on a serious note. Well, most of you know my mom is battling breast cancer. She got diagnosed a couple months ago. It's been extremely hard. They found it in her lymph nodes, so she has to do chemo. She's about halfway through. She's at the point where her hair is falling out. It's been extremely hard for me. If you've been following my channel, I've posted some very deep, dark stuff, just venting to you guys because I have no one else to talk to, just kind of letting you guys know where I'm at. But I want to be transparent. I do treat you all like family. But besides the point, this cancer support thing, they made a site called Meal Train where you can buy Grubhub gift cards for these people. And it's because my mom's too weak to cook. She can't get up and cook every day, and she doesn't want to drive out. So you can purchase a Grubhub gift card for her. And I think that's an excellent idea. She wanted me to send this to you guys because she knows you guys support her so much from the GoFundMe. And this is how you do it. You're going to click on the link. You click on the link, it's going to take you to this. So you'll put her name, which is Casey, then your name. So we'll just do this real quick. And then you could send a digital gift card. You go down here, push continue, whatever the amount you want to send is. And then it's going to ask her email, which is kcm613@gmail. I will also post that in the description. You can do whatever packages you want and then continue, and then you pay, and bam, bada bing, bada boom. So it's very simple. It's very easy. I did just want to bring this out there because I know it would help her a lot. I mean, all the money from the GoFundMe is used to pay bills. She paid 6 months rent up front, paid off, a lot of stuff, her car payments and all that, because she's out of work for a very long time. So this would help as well. I mean, any donation is a blessing. Even if you don't donate, just keeping us in your prayers means a lot as well. That holds just as much value to me. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up about this real quick. I just wanted to mention this briefly in the beginning of the video. The link will be in the description. Let's jump into it. I was having a conversation with the owner of my local coin shop. I actually filmed the conversation. I made a video of it. It's more like an interview. Highly recommend you check that out. But in the interview, we were just talking because he's been stacking silver for probably 50 plus years. He's had coin shops in business for over 40 years. And he definitely knows what he's doing, and he knows the game. He knows the business from the buyer and the seller, right? So when we were talking, I had a couple questions I wanted to ask him. And definitely one question I had on mind that I was the most interested in how he was going to reply. And this was the question. Over time, did your strategy have to change? The way that you bought silver or stacked silver back in the day, is it the same as today? Or have the markets changed? Back in the day, were you able to stack silver or buy silver or sell silver a certain way, and nowadays that just doesn't work, and have you had to adjust and adapt? And you know what his answer was? You can go watch the video. Yes. See, that was a theory I've always had. I've only been stacking for about seven or so years. So I didn't really have the experience to really go back and look at how the markets were. I've covered articles from back in the day, but to actually live it is a whole different level. And since he did, I was really curious to hear what he was going to say. And even more interestingly, he was the owner of a local coin shop, and he stacked back then. So he had both perspectives for decades, which made this conversation even more interesting. When we're looking at today's silver prices, when we're looking at today's markets, the price of silver is affected by certain things that are present, but they come and go. Right now, speculation is heavily influenced into the price of silver. A single tweet from Donald Trump or Elon Musk or Joe Biden could send prices flying or crashing. Back in the day, not so much, but social media is now the new thing. Back in the day, there wasn't Twitter. There wasn't as much controversy and chaos and fear, uncertainty and doubt, and people to access all this information and all these videos. I mean, even when I started my channel in 2015, there wasn't silver stacking channels updating people on a daily basis like I'm doing right now. There was not a channel like that. And I think I might have literally been the first channel that started creating content like this. I mean, yes, there was Salivate Metal, Junius Maltby, Shadow Stack, Silver Slacker, but they all had different types of ways to go about it, right? And I kind of formed my own, and I did that because these were the questions that I wanted to know myself. So I figured out what the question was and then started making videos and learning along the way for you guys, right? But regardless, times are changing and they're going to continue to keep changing. They're going to continue to keep changing. Even when I started in 2015, there has been a dramatic shift in my stacking strategy. And that's scary to think about because it's only been a couple of years. Adjusting and adapting is key. I use that word a lot. And you know I hate the S word, which is speculation. Actually, within the last couple of years, we've had probably the biggest shift in our silver stacking adjustment cycle that we've ever had throughout the history. And that is because since silver is so scarce right now, premiums on bullion coins are getting higher. An American Eagle, which throughout history has always been very close to spot price, $2-3 over spot price. If you go into your local coin shop and try to buy just an American Eagle, he's going to look at spot price, will say, I'll charge you $2 over spot. And if you try to sell that American Eagle, he'll pay you maybe $1 under spot, whatever. But nowadays, we're seeing American Eagles selling for $10 over spot, maybe $15 over spot. That's not normal. And unfortunately, a lot of stackers are new. So this is normal for them. They weren't stacking. They weren't buying silver when American Eagles were pegged to spot price, essentially. So they're used to paying these heavy premiums, which could actually be a blessing in disguise because it's a terrible feeling paying such a high premium for a coin that last year you were not paying that price for. But the point I'm saying is times are changing. Now, I want to look backwards, and I want to look backwards because I want to apply this forwards. Yeah, we can look at the past all we want, but the future is what matters, right? We're strategists. We make strategic decisions based off information. And the information is giving us right now that times are changing. We have to adjust. And that is so in the future we can profit the best. So yes, we can use past data, look that there is and the markets are ever changing, and how are we going to adjust and adapt? That's just a little bit of context. We haven't really even jumped into the meat and potatoes yet of this video. And I would love for you to participate. I would love for you to participate. After you like this video and subscribe, heavily recommend subscribing because I'm doing a 50K giveaway. But I would love your input on this. How long have you been stacking, and have you seen the markets change during your journey? Or has your stack changed? And was there a reason that it did? The SLB, apps like Robinhood, right? Younger generations getting into investing, all has a lot to do with it. Nowadays, the Bitcoin boom in 2017, it modernized investing. Now kids, it's cool for kids to invest. You had people like Ty Lopez and celebrities that are influencing these young kids, and they want to be like them and invest in the Bitcoin and Dogecoin. So now, yes, it's cool to be into crypto as a kid. And that's heavily going to influence the price because that's new money, new eyes, new speculation, new fear, right? Also, a lot of wishy-washy people, a lot of people jumping on the Wall Street silver train, buying silver at $30 and then panic selling when it's down to 23. But that's going to come and go. That always happens. Real silver stackers, that just comes and goes, and you see the people, you feel bad. I try to make videos to tell them not to. I make so many videos during times like that, trying to tell you guys, do not sell. It's literally the worst time to sell, and there's so much more potential. It's supposed to be buy low, sell high. Don't buy high, hope it goes higher. But regardless, that's not even the point. But there is a lot when it comes to this. So back in the day, it was more fundamental, supply and demand. Right? Just like if you want to look thousands of years ago, ancient times, biblical times, the gold to silver ratio is 1-to-1. In the very beginning, it was 1-to-1. And that's because silver was magical. Silver was actually more glorified than gold was in the very beginning. And that's because it was magical. It could purify water. If you drop silver in milk, it keeps the milk fresh longer. It has antimicrobial properties, right? That's magic. Responds with other elements like no other metal does. But then over time, it was 2.5-to-1. 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. And then over time, it was 8-to-1. And I'm getting to a point here, by the way, for you that do know this history. It was 8-to-1. 8-to-1 for thousands of years, and that's because that's what it comes out of the ground. Every 8 ounces of silver we dig out, we find an ounce of gold. So that's what the price naturally and rationally should be. The gold to silver ratio should be around 8-to-1 because that's what it comes out of the ground at. And then it got into 16-to-1, and that was when gold was more royalized, right? More royalized. Kings, royalty. And then in the early 1900s, something happened. And we're talking about 5,000 years, 8-to-1, right? 10-to-1, 16-to-1. And then in 1930, so we're talking about 5,000 years of gold and silver being valuable. The ratio's always been around 10-to-1 average. 1930, FDR gets in office, changes the gold to silver ratio from 16-to-1 to 75-to-1. You heard me correctly, 75. He single-handedly devalued silver. Devalued silver. And that's crazy to think about, but also what's crazy to think about is what else happened in 1933, which I was just making a video on. Gold confiscation, Executive Order 6102 or whatever, where you had to turn in all of your gold to the government or you will spend 10 years in prison or get a $10,000 fine, which back in 1933 was probably several $100,000 today. It's just interesting to look at the time frames of these things. But you can see that the price, the value of silver starts to decrease compared to gold. And nowadays, an average gold to silver ratio price is around 60 to 1, something like that, right? And that's crazy. to even say that 60 is a normal price, because we saw it up to 125 to 1 in March 2020. So back then it was fundamentals, supply and demand, how much comes out of the ground, right? How much is on the SLB. When the Hunt brothers in 1980 cornered the market, they owned 77% of the global silver supply, and the government only had enough physical silver to cover 1 month on the COMEX, the month of October. So they had to ban silver to get all the silver back. That's just adjusting. People panic sold everything. But back then it was fundamentals. Right now, we have to incorporate speculation. We have to pay attention to the news. We have to pay attention to tweets. We have to pay attention to the FOMC meetings, Federal Chairman Jerome Powell. We have to look at interest rates, stock market volatility, even what crypto's doing. We have to pay attention to it all. Now, obviously, the dollar index is something we'll have to pay attention to, since there's a direct correlation. We have to pay attention to stimulus. We have to pay attention to the economic recovery of the situation we're in. Remember when all this started from the U.S.-China trade wars? Do you remember that? Back a couple years ago, I remember on my channel, because everything was pretty slow for a while, and then all this stuff happened at once. It was the U.S.-China trade negotiations, which led into the Iran tensions, and then it led to the Saudi Arabian oil fields getting attacked. All right then, within a span of like a couple weeks, which silver went crazy. And then after all that, things trickled out, and then you know what happened. But during that time, we got to see a lot of speculation. That was when I really understood how much speculation plays into precious metals. For Bitcoin and stuff, yeah. I mean, Elon Musk tweets out 4 letters, DOGE, and shoots Dogecoin up thousands of percent. That's, of course. Bitcoin is based off speculation. The dollar is based off speculation. The dollar is only worth as much as people think it is. So if people start to think the dollar isn't worth anything, it literally isn't. But gold and silver isn't the case, because it's real world uses. I just made a video last night talking about how Joe Biden is probably fearing silver right now, or very worried about the silver shortage. If he's trying to push the Green New Deal, if he wants all these solar panels to get built, if Elon Musk wants all these Teslas, there's already a silver shortage right now. The U.S. Mint can't even keep up with the 13 million mintage supply. So how in the world are we about to have to be able to find all this silver for the world to go green, in 5G towers, in space, and silver lithium ion? How is that possible? How is that going to be possible? We don't even have enough silver there's a limited mintage on the Type 2 Eagles, because bullion dealers are having a hard time finding supply. So how in the world, if that is already hard to get a hold of, how are we going to do something like this? Silver is going to have to come from somewhere. That's the video you should watch that I posted last night if you want to go deeper into that conversation. But the point is that nowadays it's speculation more so than even fundamentals. Silver prices are suppressed. I've talked about price manipulation. I've talked about price rigging, spoofing, placing false buy orders on these exchanges, canceling the order before it goes through. I've talked about that time and time again. They're cracking down on it, though. People are getting sent to prison left, right, front, and center, which is great. It's always going to happen. But I do see that as we go into this next phase, that stuff won't affect the price of silver. Like Ted Butler said, like a couple other people said as well. Silver's natural price is going to start to shine. Silver is going to take on a life of its own. You want to know why? Some of you probably already do. Silver is going to take on a life of its own. And when I say that, I mean regardless of what stock markets do, regardless of what gold does, regardless of what crypto does, regardless of what the dollar index does, regardless if the FOMC comes out and said the interest rates are going to spike, regardless, silver is going to move on its own. Why in the world are gold and silver prices so directly correlated, like a mirror image of themselves, when they are used for two completely different things? They are used for two completely different things. Gold is used for jewelry, earrings, necklaces, watches, a little bit of gold and electronics, but it's mostly coins, bars, jewelry, stuff like that. And that's why gold gets recycled and recycled. All the gold that gets dug up out of the ground is going to stay in circulation forever, because those earrings are going to get pawned, melted down into a new pair of earrings or a watch. That watch is going to get pawned and melted down. But silver that gets dug up gets thrown away. So yes, the gold to silver ratio coming out of the ground might be 8-1, but it's actually much smaller than that when you think about that ounce of gold that gets dug up is going to stay in circulation forever. But those 8 ounces of silver that gets dug up is going to be thrown away over the next couple years. So it's actually much smaller than 8-1 if you think about it that way. Plus, silver is a byproduct, which means it's found by accident. But anyways, let's get back to the point. And I have to say all these side points because there's so much context to this, to what we're talking about. Because basically what we're talking about is silver, the history of silver, how people stacked silver, the market of silver, the economy, how it was, how it is right now, and how it's going to be moving forwards, and then how are we going to adapt and adjust to it. So this is a very big, very complex, diverse topic. And that's why I'm so excited about this video, by the way, because there is so much to talk about. So right now we're at the point where speculation is happening, right? It's not always off pure fundamentals, and silver's starting to take on a life of its own. We see that, and that is because the silver's an industrial metal, not so much a monetary metal as gold is solely. So when we need these 5G towers, when we need these electric vehicles, when we need all this stuff that silver is heavily used in, gold has no role in that. Gold has no play in that, no say in that. So silver demand is going to be booming. Everyone needs silver. Silver's scarce, not gold. Why do you think gold doesn't have high premiums? Because gold isn't scarce. There isn't a gold shortage. There's a silver shortage. I actually made a chart, or I made a video covering the below ground supply of silver, above ground supply of silver, and the global production, and we will run out of silver by the year 2030. We will run out of gold by the year 2040, something like that. But gold production is easily to get kicked up because it's profitable to do so. Miners light. I mean, if you're a miner, why would you look ounce per ounce? Why would you look for something that's 70 times cheaper than something else? The same ounce. You have two different rocks. Why would you look for a rock that's 70 times cheaper than the other one? You're going to look for the one that's 70 times more expensive, right? It only makes sense. They're not looking for gold or for silver, but if they find it, they'll take it. They're looking for gold, lead, zinc. So now we get into the translation between silver taking on a life of its own and leaving gold in the past. Leaving gold in the past. This is where everything starts, because we have this trifecta. The stars have aligned. The perfect storm is here. The floodgates have opened. We have this trifecta, this volcano, which gold's volcano's already erupted. Silver's volcano's still bubbling. But listen to this real quick. So number one, silver is scarce. U.S. Mint came out, admitted it, said there's a silver shortage, limited supply. Former U.S. Mint director said it. Silver Institute put out numbers. I mean, it's obvious there's a silver shortage. Number two, the demand for silver is skyrocketing and will be for the next decade and multiplying times 10 from there on out. Low supply, high demand shoots the price up. So very low supply, very high demand. Very high demand. But then on top of that, it's demand from the industrial sector and it's demand from individual investors like you and I. Everyone wants a slice of the silver pie. Everyone. You and I do, and big business does as well. And on top of that too, that's what the price is going to start rising from. But we also have stimulus, the dollar collapsing, $29 trillion in debt. The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power, 44% in the last 20 years. So we have this metal that's extremely scarce. The demand is going to be booming. Everyone's going to need it to make the world go round, which is my Joe Biden video, why, that could be a very dangerous situation if they can't find the silver to build this new digital era that they're trying to manifest. But on top of that, the dollar's collapsing, and we know there's a direct correlation between gold and silver prices in the dollar. The dollar index is low, gold and silver is high. When the dollar index is high, gold and silver is low. And we know that the dollar is headed into the ground. And that's not a if, that's not a maybe, that is a definitely when. When. We know the how, we know the why, but it's just when. It's going to take the United States a little longer because we own the most gold. It's the only reason we're the wealthiest country in the world. If you look at third world countries, I showed this on a video the other day, they carry their money in trash bags, they weigh their money on scales, they use their money, they make the couches and chairs out of their money. They have millions and millions of these dollars because it's so deflated. It's like a $1 bill having the purchasing power of like 5 pennies. So if you want to go to the store and buy something for $17, you have to hand over hundreds, if not thousands, of these bills. That's why you see the Zimbabwe $1 trillion bill. I mean, I was holding up, when I was showing in that video, people holding up signs saying that they're broke billionaires, right? Because technically they are a billionaire with how much money they own, but the money is worth nothing. We're all going in the same direction. Every fiat system is trying to get ourselves out of debt by replacing it with more debt. It's like trying to pay off a credit card with another credit card. It doesn't work. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. So, we talked about everything, or almost everything, that silver has going for it with the stars aligning, right? Perfect time. Scarcity, Wall Street silver movement, the eyes are on silver. This situation we're in, which you guys all know, I can't say the word, but over the last year and a half, the global situation is happening, which is also exposing how broke the United States is. So that also translates into people looking into precious metals. Silver was the #1 performing asset of 2020, so already proving its ground. Then we go into the dollar, and then we go into solar panels and all of that. And when that kicks into play, when all of that kicks into play, that's when we're going to start seeing crazy high silver prices. That just hasn't happened yet. Right now, the only thing we're starting to see is the beginning of the proof that there is a silver shortage, that we are running out of silver, and that's because of the premiums. That is the first sign. So yes, it's starting to happen, and if you want proof, the first sign is these extremely high premiums on silver. But that won't be the last sign. That's just getting started. But the gaps on these premiums will keep growing. Everyone talks about $100 silver is impossible. When we pay $100 for an ounce of silver, spot price won't be $100. Spot price will probably be $60 or $70. But to buy a physical ounce will cost $100. If spot price is $60 and to buy a physical ounce of silver is $100, what is the price of silver? would you still say 60? No, you would say 100 because that's what you have to pay for it. Same thing right now. Everyone says silver's $24 right now. No, silver's $30. You can't buy a physical ounce of silver for $24. Even though spot price is $24, you can't go anywhere and buy a physical ounce for $24. So what is the real price? Spot price is getting detached from the physical price. Spot price is essentially irrelevant. No matter who says that 1 ounce coin is worth what is irrelevant, because the value is the 1 ounce inside of it, not the price tag attached to it. And it's been like that forever. And that's why silver has intrinsic value. And that's why silver is timeless. That's why silver is the best investment. That's why my name is Silver Slayer, not Gold Slayer. Not Bitcoin boy, not gold guru, not gold guy, not Crypto Slayer. Well, that used to be my name for my second channel. Now that channel is called Silver Slayer Clips because I wanted to start doing the shorts thing, but I didn't really like that. So I'm probably going to take my second channel back to being called The Root of All Evil, where I strictly just talk about the corrupt financial system. If you would like to check out that, click the second link in the description. That's my second channel. I have a couple thousand subscribers. I've been posting on there for years as well. So anyways, I think I can wrap this video up here. There's just so much subject when we're talking about this. I wanted to make sure that I covered everything because I freestyle these videos. I have no script. There's no pen and paper next to me. I thought of this subject and I just started talking to you. And this is a one-take video. I just started talking. I tried to plan out in my brain what direction I wanted to go to first, right? And what's most relevant, and then branch off and try to get back on track with my head to make sure I don't get too off guard or too, carried away. So yeah, if you thought I did a good job, hit the like button. Let me know. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. I post daily videos. I'm doing a 50K giveaway. You don't want to miss it. Halfway to 100K, where I get my channel, or where we get our channel verification badge, where we get the silver play button. And yeah, and also if you want to send my mom some Grubhub gift cards, she would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it as well. You don't have to. Even just keeping her in your prayers is just as good. Is just as good. Only if you want to and if you can afford to. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.